BC just dropped some real like right camera like
right before we get on. I hit him
and then said we're going to talk about this later. Wow.
All right, bring us in, buddy.
Welcome to Homebrew Guys, the podcast about homebrewing. I don't know. Have you investigated, BC, the other podcasts about homebrewing in the world? Have you ever really looked?
No.
There are quite a few.
Still?
We're the only ones called the Homebrew Guys.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad we didn't steal somebody else's name.
We didn't. No.
There's Basic Brewing, right?
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
I mean, there's a bunch of small ones. That's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of people who are smaller that are still doing the thing.
Like there's that Mead podcast. Not yours. It's got that guy, man who makes mead. What's it called? You were on it, weren't you?
There was the
It's
Mead,
clearly very popular.
Mead House.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that one stopped.
Oh, they don't do it anymore?
Well, the main host of it unfortunately passed away.
R.I.P.
Yeah. And so they stopped doing that a while back. Mainly because their host is no longer with us. But yeah, there's that one. There are a bunch of other ones that are out there. But this is the Homebrew Guys podcast. This is our, I would say, unique podcast in that we talk about the world of homebrewing and the hundreds of things that happen. We kind of boil them down and find the coolest ones from around the globe and tell you what's happening. And this month was no exception. There are lots of things that happened, both within the world of, physical world, I'll say, and I always make this joke, but also the internet world. There's a lot of homebrewing things that happen there as well. So, we have all the tea to spill.
That's the thing I was going to ask you is are most of those brewing podcasts kind of pigeonholed into like a very specific, like, we talk about beer brewing or we talk about wine tasting, whereas we kind of like from week to week we might cover more beer or more
there's
wine,
like
more mead.
like brewlosophy. It's like brewlosophy is like all about the test and science and stuff. So they have their niche. I feel like they definitely all have their niche. Got Mead has its kind of niche. I don't know. Yes, I do think that they are not pigeonholed, but they definitely are catering to a certain style.
Gotcha.
So, anyways,
and we just talk about it all.
Yeah, we're the variety show. That's we just kind of go through everything. So, BC,
congratulations. Yeah, you won People's Choice at Grovetoberfest.
I did. Well, also congratulations. So,
thank you.
BC, there's this homebrew pouring event here in Edmond. There's a homebrew club that's centered around this specific neighborhood, which is kind of cool. And they have twice a year a pouring event at their little clubhouse and essentially invite people to come and brew, and normally it's people within the club, of course. And so we poured our mead among people pouring beer and things. And there's a judge's choice. They had some judges come in and taste one of each person's, basically. Mm-hmm. You had to give one sampler and say, hey, this is what I want to be judged.
This is my best.
And then their whole event had like a people's choice where they had bottle caps, and you would just give your bottle caps to the ones that you liked. And BC's Cherry Limeade Mead, which is, I think, a recipe that's going to be coming out eventually.
I am currently brewing the batch that will be featured on the channel.
Ooh. Won second place. Only, which I'm just going to say, if my fellow people there, he should have won first. I personally tasted the first place one.
I tasted it too. I'm biased, though.
I mean, I would say I'm biased, but I'm also, I tasted it and I was a little confused, but also, that's just how it works. There was beer.
In my opinion, the first place beer was good.
Oh yeah, it was good, but
it wasn't anything outstanding.
Right.
It didn't change because it was a stout, right? It was a chocolate stout. It didn't change my mind about chocolate stouts or anything. It was just the stout.
Yeah, I don't know. I expect with stouts you kind of want something to hold on to, and this one didn't necessarily have a ton to hold on to. But anyways, he won second place, which is super awesome in the judge's mind, and especially for a recipe that you're
That was the first time I had brewed that recipe.
Pretty good. Obviously a winner right there. And then, surprisingly, of all the things in the world, a traditional session mead won the People's Choice, which was blown
away by that. And it was, you had done Coffee Blossom honey.
Coffee Blossom at like 5 or 6%.
Yeah. People loved it.
Carbonated it. Like,
I thought for sure that your Apple Cinnamon was going to win again because it was a strong competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And so we poured some stuff, had a good time, and obviously we both came away with some awards, and that's
it feels
we weren't
good
expecting to
go to a beer event.
Yeah, it does.
And win 2 out of the 4 awards that were given away.
We kind of talked about this, and especially with experience sending off to mead competitions specifically, I found that when you send hydromel strength, session strength things to beer more so based competitions, they do better when it has a mead category than if you have a straight up mead competition. When you send that 7%er, I don't think I've ever on a mead only competition done well with something that's been session strength. Maybe Apple Cinnamon like once, and that was I feel like a Hail Mary. Like, I don't know how it happened, but
yeah, I think part of that, if I had to like shoot from the hip, and I like a guess, part of that is that these are old school folks, who are used to a different era of mead making,
right?
And their palate developed around those stylistic choices. And now session meads are becoming incredibly popular. We're going to actually talk about low ABV mead that hit the news this month here in a little bit. But they're becoming very popular, and I don't think that competition judging has caught up with that trend. But at Mead Stampede, sessions win regularly.
That's true. It is interesting. So, I don't know. I'll take that as you will. Maybe for Mead Stampede, if you're looking for something to submit, knowing that, try some session strength meads. So, yeah, I want to, it's not on our list, but I want to make sure and remind people about the Cattle Battle Mead for this coming year's Mead Stampede.
We should probably send out an email about that.
It feels like it's far away, but July will be here of 2024 way sooner than we might want to realize or really want to think about. So, BC, what, because you're the one who's brewing this, I'm going to let you talk about the Cattle Battle Mead for a second, because it's interesting.
Yeah, so I need to get those bottled. I had texted you and Mandy that I was going to try and bottle them like 3 weeks ago, and it just like never happened because my studio is a flippin' mess right now. But I have 4 test batches brewed. So the Cattle Battle this year for Mead Stampede is a cereal milk lactimel. And so that's like, take that inspiration however you want, but we are using milk and cereal.
Right.
And so what I did for our test batches was I brewed 4-ish gallons, like 4¼ gallons of lactimel. And I split it out into 4 2-gallon buckets for secondary. And I put a different cereal in each one of those buckets.
As you do.
As you do. Let those infuse for a period of time that I'm not going to discuss because I don't want you to know my secrets. Yep. And then I sweeten them all just a little bit, and they're all sitting in secondary. So I'm going to bottle that soon so we can send bottles to Mandy, and then we can all hop on Zoom and taste them and decide which direction we want to go.
Which cereal we really want to
makes the best lactimel. And that will become the Cattle Battle go-to recipe, I guess. None of these are really well balanced yet.
Are you gonna send this mead to a competition?
I might.
We'll see.
We'll see how they turn out. A lactimel, I feel like lactimel is an acquired taste. It definitely has its own bouquet.
Yeah.
And I think it's been said time and time again on the internet. Generally, a mead made as a lactimel is always going to be better made not as a lactimel.
Yeah. So you should really consider doing this. It's a lot of fun. And this past year, we had some really fun prizes. Every single, we had our 3 choices of the people who host the contest. We had these belt buckles that are really cool. And then we also had a specific trophy for that. Well, there's 2 different trophies. There was one for, of course, Best of Show. There was one for Cattle Battle. And then there was one for, another award that they added. That was the Lactimel.
Yeah, it was like a milk bottle.
Yeah. So we're going to have some fun stuff. Beyond that, it's just fun to experiment. So we hope to inspire you to try something new.
Check out meadstampede.org.
Yep.
For details. We've booked the venue. Mm-hmm. Dates are up, I believe, on the website now. So you can get prepared. We'll start registrations on April 1st, like we've done every year in the past. We'll be judging mid-July, and we're going to be judging at an event center here in Oklahoma City that the following day will open up as our event venue for the awards ceremony. So it's all happening in one place. We're really excited about it. The event center is really excited to work with us again this year.
It's cool.
We kind of greased the wheels last year by leaving her a box of award-winning meads when we left.
Treating it really well. I think we did a pretty killer job of, there was a lot of, we treated the place very nicely. So
I think so.
All right, we got to get into some news.
We got so much to talk about on this episode.
So we're going to hop into the brews. This is news from around the brewing world. We've got, let's see here, we've got 5 headlines for today. I almost said topics, but it's really, they're headlines. We're news. We're a news channel for this next few minutes. So this first one.
Yeah, you want to take the first one?
We always talk about, we've covered things from wine heists of people, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars of wine to people finding it behind walls. That was one we found that one time. That was like somebody just opened up a door and it was like, oh, look, here's, or it was like a old house kind of situation. So this is a little bit different. This is a billionaire that is selling off 25,000 bottles of wine from his collection. 25,000.
That is an unfathomable. I added an extra syllable in there somewhere. Amount of wine. Where would you put 25,000 bottles?
I mean, he's
of wine?
got a good cellar. I'll tell you that much. Okay, and what's crazy is this says the rarest one is expected to get at least or about $190,000 for one of those bottles. Now, obviously, he probably doesn't have thousands of those, but even if you have 10, even if you have 5, and you can sell 5 wine bottles for $1 million, so he's a billionaire. I mean, this is chump change to him, honestly.
It's unbelievable.
The overall thing says $50 million is the estimated.
And the crazy thing about it is like, for one, wine is not really a thing to collect, right? Wine is made to be drank.
Right.
And so if say you're Elon Musk and you've got money to play with and you decide to buy a $190,000 bottle of wine, chances are you're not drinking it. You're just putting it away.
I don't know though, when you have that much money.
You think so? You think he's popping?
I think there are definitely people who do it, but there are also we're talking specific people. I think Elon Musk could drink it. You know what I mean?
We have a story about him coming up here in a little bit.
I think so. But also, you're right there. There's a lot of novelty. It's like, wasn't there... I remember hearing about a bottle of wine or something that was found, maybe like Titanic or something ridiculous like that was like super far in the ocean. And obviously it's like, well, is it good? Is it worth drinking? It's like, at that point when it's 100 years old and you're like, okay, I could pop this bottle open. But then that literally just ruins everything about it.
Yeah.
The novelty of...
Sure, but you're also going to be dead soon, right? Like...
So would you open the 190,000... If you had the money, you had enough money to burn on a $190,000 bottle of wine...
Yeah, I'd drink it. I would drink it. What are you going to do? Sell it to somebody else for $192,000? Like...
I'm going to flip this bottle of wine.
Drank it. That's nuts. How much do you think your mead collection is worth?
$5.
Coming up on 50 million.
Yeah. Depends on the bottle.
Yeah. Whoop. All right. Next up. So we had talked about this 2 shows ago.
Yeah.
Maybe that Anchor Steam was going under.
Mm-hmm.
Well. Joke's on us, I guess, because there's a group trying to revive Anchor Steam.
Raising some money. It looks like they've raised a little bit of money.
They have raised over $91,000 in their quest to buy back the company.
I don't know. I feel like that's just not enough money in reality to like buy back
$91,000 for what was a national brand. It seems pretty low.
Yeah, I'm like, where they?
So Anchor SF Cooperative, comprised of former employees of the influential brewery, launched efforts to purchase the company and turn it into a worker-owned and operated business. The GoFundMe campaign was started last week, and they wanted to raise $50,000 to cover the bills and legal fees.
Huh.
So they've almost doubled.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
What they were trying to raise. And we'll see what happens.
Well,
TBD.
I mean, I sure hope that they are successful because, again, a 127-year-old company going down, especially for something like that sort of I don't say mismanagement, but probably mismanagement, or it's just like, I don't know. It's a travesty.
Yeah, Fat Brisket says they should become employee owned, which is apparently what they're trying to do.
We're trying to do that. Well, if you want to go support them, maybe they're still taking money. I don't know. They might still be waiting for some more $100,000.
I think it's going to cost quite a bit more than that, but I wish them luck. It's sad to see a brewery of that age go down.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like at that point it's like an institution. Can you
imagine the equipment they have there? Holy cow!
Yeah, do you think they've like upgraded over the years, or do you think they're working at turn of the century?
No, for sure they've had to upgrade for capacity. There's no way the capacity is the same.
Yeah.
So they have probably 10, 20 barrel systems that are running on.
Oh, okay. Larry wants me to say, Slayer!
Sorry.
There you go, buddy.
People in their car.
Yeah, your neighbor's next door.
Now the dog's concerned.
I got you. Yeah, I scared Boone with that. All right, what's up?
BC, do you know that people are drinking less craft beer?
I didn't know this until I received this link in my texts.
So this was we send each other stuff all the time, and I found this one very interesting because I feel like everybody has always seen the craft beer industry, and it's just continued to grow and grow and grow. And we're finally at the point. This says, after a decade of significant growth, the industry is hit with a 2% decline. And I'm like, okay, 2%, that's really not that much. But when you look at the fact that it's only been going up. So I think it's like hitting that top of the mountain, and we're like going, oh, wait, is this not the end necessarily, but what's the big change here? And the primary reasons, according to this article, are for, what does it say?
It's consumption of beer. Other stuff.
Yeah, and the other one I read was like lifestyle. It says including pandemic disruptions, unsustainable previous growth, inflation, and lifestyle trends favoring healthier living. Which I definitely think that's true. Have you seen all these non-alcoholic beers floating around?
Yeah, there was actually an article that I almost included in this month's podcast about the meteoric rise of non-alcoholic beer over the last year.
It's really interesting. I actually am not a fan. I am a fan. There you go. I'm a fan.
Okay, so change my mind then, because I don't understand the purpose of non-alcoholic beer.
Well, the few that I've had, Athletic Brewing is the big one. They have, it's like lower calorie. Like one of theirs is like 25 calories or something like that. So you're thinking in like two carbs. Now, of course, there's no alcohol there. My point in drinking those at that point is like, I want the taste of beer, but if it's like a 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, you know,
and it's for your school day.
Yeah. I don't really want to be consuming that stuff. So
I can pick up your trombones.
So I think that's an interesting thing to me. They also don't taste bad. They're not the same, I'll say. Of course, you can't necessarily sit here and say they taste the exact same. But they're interesting.
Kyle says that non-alcoholic Guinness is actually decent.
I am curious to try more. I've only really had Athletic Brewing's stuff, and it's not bad. The lower calorie thing is the really big thing for me.
I just don't have any interest in either of it.
I mean, I'm thinking if I can, like, glass of mead, a lot of calories. Let's be real.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I can have 4 cans of this 25 calorie beer without getting buzzed and not even get close to the caloric value that is in a glass of mead, I'm starting to get to that age where it's going to hips, you know?
No, it's not. I mean, I've never really been one to I've been fortunate that I've not really had to worry about weight gain, old age, etc. We'll see.
You haven't had to worry about old age?
I know. Well, I mean, like negatively impacting me.
Yeah.
I've seen from my biologics that I'm probably coming up on having to worry about that at some point. But for me, it's just like, if I don't want to drink something that's going to make me inebriated, I would choose anything else. I'd get a cherry limeade or a Powerade.
I like the taste of beer, but there are points where I'm like, I don't really want to. I don't want to have the alcohol side.
But in my brain, I associate the flavor of beer with the sensation of getting buzzed. And so
I think you got to try.
I feel like I'm going to end up drinking more beer because my brain is going to say, well, this isn't working. And then I'm still going to have all those calories you're talking about.
But you have to put down a lot of them. You got to put down
I'm just going to not. We should do a non-alcoholic beer tasting on the next show.
I'm all for it.
You can convince me.
I'm curious, what do people think of the chat? Are you a non-alcoholic beer fan?
Trent from the Brew Show says non-alcoholic Heineken is good too.
Hey,
if you like that.
Well, the process is interesting too. We'll talk about it next time when we do I'll get some various flavors of things. We'll talk about the process.
Well, and you were trying to get a hold of that non-alcoholic beer yeast.
There's even a yeast market now. It's really interesting. There's a yeast strain that is catered for that, and so like I don't know. That's just fascinating.
Renee says, "Water has 0 calories." Just saying.
It's true.
Water isn't as much fun as everything else.
That's true.
I have to apologize. They did point out in the chat that yes, I am a little bit under the weather again. There's a big cold moving through Oklahoma right now. It took out basically my whole workplace, and I'm still dealing with the aftershocks of that. But I had it like Saturday through Tuesday was when I had it the worst. I texted him earlier in the week and was like, my plan is to make it for the podcast. We'll see what happens.
Let's go on to the next one, talking about different forms of alcohol. We have, I feel like, I don't want to say I predicted this because I think we all knew it was coming.
Oh, boy,
Mead hard seltzers are hitting the market.
Yeah.
Now, in my head, Mead hard seltzer had a different...
different look and feel.
Yeah. This is, and BC will have to, in a moment, have to help correct what is happening here, but they're basically just doing what they do with all hard seltzers and just flavoring with a little bit of mead and a spirit.
This article is from a website that seems to like aggregate press releases or something, so the article is kind of confusing, but it does seem like they're just blending like a regular old traditional mead with a hard seltzer, so it kind of feels like they're doing it so they can call it mead. Yeah. But in reality, they're just trying to sell you a hard seltzer with a gimmick.
Honey hard seltzer is what we're going for. I would love to see a better version of it, honestly. It's kind of a bummer that this is what it is, but I'm not surprised also. It's hard to keep that, again, calorie count down. Mm-hmm. Like, I think everyone looks at mead, and nobody wants to talk about it, so I'm sorry that I am talking about it, and people are like, shut up. But looks at it and goes, how much sugar content's there, and then you think about how many calories and sugar and all that, and so it's just hard to bring that down to like a less than 100 calories for a 12-ounce pour of something.
Yeah. So. People have questions and concerns in the chat about it, so I was opening up the full article. Mm-hmm. So the trend, so for those, they're kind of questioning whether or not you would even be able to call it a mead on the label, which I think is an appropriate question given how convoluted our federal restrictions are around mead. I have a video on that, if you're curious. So part of the trend is that it's served out of cans. This part of the article refers to them as honey wine hard seltzers.
Honey wine hard seltzer.
satisfying the cravings of those who are looking for a novel and slightly sweet alternative. Ooh. So that's a thing that I am, hard seltzer recipes are a dime a dozen. I have been working for the last year or so to try and figure out what the best way of doing that is. Brewlosophy has a recipe that's close, but I don't love it. And so I want to kind of come somewhere in that realm, but I do agree that a lot of people don't like hard seltzer because they want it to be a little bit sweet. Yeah. And all of the hard seltzers are dry.
Right.
Because they're supposed to be 0 cal. And all it is like a dextrose situation, like fermented sugar wash, basically. Right. That they put amaretti flavorings in or whatever at the end. So, I don't know. So this is calling it a canned mead hybrid. Huh. And according to this, the one that they talk about in this article is a citrus mead vodka seltzer. So it's mead, vodka, and sparkling water.
Mead mixed drink. It's just for making this way.
Like you said, why even put mead in it? Why not just put honey, vodka, and sparkling water together?
Because people are like, this market's untapped. Here we go, boom, and they're just running into it. And I get the idea there, but also I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I hope something better arises. I will try them, but.
Kyle asks, what are your opinions on the historical subcategory in the BJCP guidelines? Do you have any big opinions on historical?
I don't really. I don't know. I mean, you always see like they're always
like Mesopotamian stuff.
Yeah, like the names are just wild, and you're like, okay, this is translated from something. But I've never really taken the name of it and translated it back to like English to be like, what does this actually mean? I know the issue at hand and what we're talking about in. The idea that people are talking about here is that a lot of these historical meads are just sack strength, normally probably traditional meads. I would assume you can't get away. Maybe you can with other fruits and stuff.
Some of the older recipes include herbs and things like you can find in those old recipe books from like the 1700s.
But I mean, like, I can't take my sack strength blueberry and cinnamon and be like, this is a historical.
No.
Like
I think I think there should be some basis in reality for a historical mead. Yeah. And like Tej, I think falls under historical. I'm not sure. I don't think that's where I put my Tej when I entered it in Orpheus. I don't recall at this point, but I think Tej qualifies for historical.
Well, no, here's the thing. There aren't a lot of people making them. And so when you see that category, there's a lot of times one person winning it or one or two people winning it. Mm. And I think that's always, it's like, cool, man. There's 3 people who entered this category and you won first and third and somebody else. No, sorry, there's 2 people that entered and, you won first and third and the other person won second. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. At that point, I would just say if you have three in there, I would just go ahead and call it a first place and just make it a little more interesting.
I get the appeal, I guess, of historical recipes and historical brewing for people who are interested in that sort of thing. I'm not.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't appeal to me, but I see value. I see merit in it, I guess.
Well, I don't know. That could be his whole soapbox. I want to talk about Tesla. You talked about Elon Musk, and I'm all interested in what's Elon doing with mead?
With beer? Have you seen the CyberBeer?
Have I seen the CyberBeer?
I tried to buy it.
I mean, it looks pretty cool. $150
for 2 bottles of beer.
I mean,
$75 a bottle.
So
it's sold out. Unfortunately, it's out of stock.
What's the allure here? The
Elon Musk has a bunch of fanboys, and he knows that they will pay him large sums of money for anything that he puts out. And so he put out a beer, and turns out he was right. People will just
give him money for the cups. Give me the cups.
It does look cool. I bet it's not. $150 worth of yum, though.
No, I mean that's a 3D printed mug right there.
Yeah, y'all have to Google this so you can see there's a bunch of images on the website.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's being brewed by a real brewery. Like, Elon's not like making this in his basement or something.
Noble, Saaz hops, Hollow Tau. Used those before. Hops that I know. I feel confident now. I've used these hops before.
You're basically a beer brewing pro.
Yeah.
At this point.
Hear that? Before you leave, you gotta try my Bud Light Braggot that I have brewed over there.
Yeah. Cubic says, effing Tesla fanboys. I was driving behind a Tesla today that had a license plate that said battery powered. No. It just felt like a lot. Yeah, CyberBeer. It's sold out. If you go check it out on eBay, you will see
in late October, so maybe they'll have some new.
People are reselling their pre-orders for this for upwards of $350 to $400.
Sounds about right.
On eBay. Ridiculous. I briefly considered what it would look like to spend this month's YouTube money on that and decided not worth it.
Buzzrock Brewing. I'll have to look them up. That's interesting. BC, I want to do a tasting with you. I know that we've got some chat people in here. And speaking of celebrities, I have
Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips. That would be pretty cool.
I have some UK meads.
Okay.
So
you certainly do.
I bought. This
is beautiful.
A company called Horns of Odin, found in the UK. So this came from overseas, packaged in, might I say, the worst looking packaging I've ever seen to come across the ocean.
Oh, really?
I have no idea how it made over here in the package. I should have taken a photo because it was insane.
So, like some of those Mead Stampede ones we get where they...
I mean, they at least had the bubble wrap little thing where you just blow it up and you put it in here, but that was the only thing protecting it. It was just rattling around.
These are screw caps too. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So I have two meads here.
Okay.
So first one, we're gonna start off simple. This is it's a traditional mead. Horns of Odin. This is the mead of Cernunnos, and it's a heather honey. You know those UK people love their heather honey.
It is a popular choice there.
And it's a trad. Let's keep it simple. Let's just go for it. And then, spoilers, we're going to open one that was brewed specifically for the very popular, once popular band, Bullet for My Valentine. They literally brewed it, this meadery brewed it specifically for them. So you'll get to taste that. And I really wonder how that happened. Did Bullet for My Valentine reach out to them and say, hey, we want you to make us a mead? Did they brew it just to get attention?
So this is a traditional with heather honey.
Heather honey traditional.
I don't know that I've had heather honey traditional. Conrad's in the chat.
Conrad,
do you know if I've had a heather honey traditional? See, Conrad and I were together for that big traditional tasting at Valkyrie's Horn a couple years ago.
You probably have. Somebody had some of that.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It smells like honey.
It smells amazing.
I mean, that is some true honey character there.
I'm impressed by the nose on that. Okay.
It does smell a whole lot sweeter than what it tastes like. Not to put opinions in your mouth.
Okay. Put opinions in my mouth. I'm just going to let that one go. Cubic asks, what is heather honey?
It's from Heather. You know her.
Woo! You're right. It's not as sweet as it smells like it's going to be.
But I mean, it's like you take a couple little flowers and you just kind of put them in the back of your mouth.
So dry. And like not just dry, but like dry. Like it tastes.
Yeah.
It tastes not wet. I don't know how to explain that, but like
that's interesting. I mean,
it's not from tannin. It's like it's from the floral.
Yeah. I've never had a mead that's had so much. I mean, maybe because it is dry, you get more of the floral presence here. But this is literally like tea sort of flavor to me. Mm-hmm. Like that really not bitter. I guess maybe get a little astringent.
Shout out to Charles from DIY Fermentation dropping in the chat.
Hey, he says,
"Hello,
hello,
hello."
Today we're going to be making heather honey mead.
Blackberry wine. Shout out to Charles. Charles does non-interventionist or low intervention brewing. So check out his channel if you're interested in that.
So
this is not bad.
Not bad.
I want this to be sweeter.
Yeah.
But the flavor is really interesting and unique. There's not anything really off about it. So it survived its trip.
It did.
Across the Atlantic.
Not bad. Will be kept around. All right. The headliners here.
Okay.
Brewed for the band Bullet for My Valentine. This is called Waking the Demon. Honey mead.
I think you should do
honey
that.
Mead.
You should do that in a metal voice.
Look, we need Jake to do it.
I couldn't do. I'll start a coughing fit.
This is sweet and Moorish. Let me know what you think that means. With rich, deep honey.
Moorish, like
flavors.
Moor.
Moreish.
Oh. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean? So now the screw top. Also interesting. The screw top idea is fun.
So this is very popular overseas. The screw tops. Apparently in Australia, basically every mead and wine is screw top these days. Which, as a person who hates microplastic trash, it makes me really sad. I guess that one's made out of metal.
Yeah.
The screw top on this one. This one's
the other one not.
This one's plastic.
Oh yeah.
So I'm more okay with metal, but.
So we're gonna taste some sweet and Moorish.
All right.
You ready for that?
Moreish.
Yep. What on earth is? The nose is. It's really hard to get down there.
That is weird.
I'm having to stick my nose almost all the way in the glass. It's got like a little fruitiness in here. The color is interesting because it's like a amber.
Okay, so what is the composition of this?
I'll need to look.
I don't know what Moorish means.
Oh, I'll look it up.
It is
Did you ever listen to Bullet for My Valentine?
No, I have no idea what this band is.
They're a metal band. I can't play any music because of copyright.
The label says "enjoy sensibly." Well, I'm tempted to enjoy this in the least sensible way possible.
I was impressed I could even just get it.
Yeah.
Literally, okay, this is the only thing they say. This mead has been produced especially for the rock band Bullet for My Valentine. It is sweet and Moorish with rich, deep honey flavors. Serve at room temp. That's literally all they say on the website. It's like a trad with some other flavor in there that's like a fruity. Maybe it's just the honey. It's not bad.
When it first hits your tongue, very nice.
Yeah.
That finish, I don't love as much.
It's got a little bit of lingers. Like a semi-cherry element to me, like a little bit of that medicinal.
Yeah, it is. It's got a little bit of just like a touch of Robitussin.
Yeah.
A couple drops of Robitussin.
But I mean, overall, not bad. It is honey. It is sweet.
It's one of the better, full-bodied commercial meads I've had.
Horns of Odin. Very nice.
Oh, Dog Stick.
Do you get some watermelon side to it?
Correcting you. It says not really metal, more like hard rock.
Oh, sorry, Dog Fetch. I mean, you're right. They're hardcore rock. Do you get like a watermelon-y thing on the end? Like a watermelon rind? I get like a bright, it tastes like watermelon candy to me.
There's something
like a Jolly Rancher.
Oh, I was gonna say vegetal.
Oh, I get like a watermelon Jolly Rancher now. Now my brain cannot get that out of mine. Ow.
Maybe at the beginning.
It's weird. Anyway, it's fun.
I think I prefer the other one.
They ship internationally, apparently. So
well, there you go.
Okay, was a little expensive. Actually, shipping was like $25, surprisingly.
That's not bad.
For 2 bottles, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get 2 bottles. So check them out, Horns of Odin. Or if you want to, they got some swag too. They got clothing. I don't know what's going on here, but they've got a ton of merch as well.
Larry is providing us a very different definition of Moorish. Of or relating to the Moors. That's not how it's spelled, though. It's spelled Moreish.
I have a conversation for our chat.
Oh, go for it, man.
How many people would or do drink mead out of a Viking horn? I would like to know of the 39 people in the chat currently, how many of you would drink or do drink mead out of a Viking horn? I feel like it's a very... For me, I have to go the extra step. I have one right here. That's my old roommate bought me that.
I can say that I have probably never consumed mead out of a horn. I would feel silly doing that.
I did once, maybe twice, with him. You know, I was one of those.
I'm not saying that it is silly to do it. I'm saying I would feel silly doing it.
Yes. I was like, I did it, and then I was like, this is a kind of a pain to clean out. I was like, so... Interesting. Well, thank you for being part of that tasting.
That was fun. They're good.
Yeah,
they're not bad.
I'm impressed.
I've had a lot worse commercial meads than those.
True.
That's for ding dang sure.
Okay. Are we ready to hop into this month in brewing? We've got a smorgasbord.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about our videos that are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
Well, usually we take a beat to discuss what's going on YouTube.
I scrolled too far. Let's start with you. You posted a video today.
I did. I've been trying to be a little bit more regular with my video production schedule. And I've had a lot of partners reaching out lately to do collaborative stuff.
I've had a lot of Amazon people reach out that I'm like, why do you want like the dumbest things you can think of?
Oh man, yeah, I had one the other day that was it was like totally unrelated to brewing, and
every one of mine is unrelated.
And it was like a product that was like $20 too. I'm like, I'm not doing a dedicated video for some random thing.
One was knives one time. It was like a set of chef's knives, and it was like probably $100 set. And I was like, how funny would it be for me to incorporate that into a video? Like I'm like brewing a mead, and then I'm like, today's video is sponsored by these knives.
Right, right.
Like, people are like, what?
Brand knives.
What do you mean?
So, this week's video just came out this morning. It's a collab with Veaver. I love Veaver. I know I'm going to catch some flack for playing with Veaver.
I have
because their stuff is like, it's cheap import stuff, right? But the quality's not that bad.
I mean, I use the beer brewing system all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it does okay.
So today's video is about their air still. I do a deep dive on air still distilling and how it works, how the machine works, how to put it together, things you can do with it, recommendations for how to run it, such as that. And I was really impressed with that. And they sent me a sous vide immersion.
You've got way more stuff from them than I have. I have, every time they ask me, I have been pushing for one specific product, and they're always like, I'm sorry, this one's out of stock. This one's going out of stock. We can't. And I'm like, the one thing I want, I can review. So.
Yeah, so they sent me their sous vide water immersion circulator thing. That was pretty good quality. Anna is much more excited about it than I am because she wants to do custards and other things in it. I've been impressed with their stuff, and they're a breeze to work with. What I do is they'll send me an email and say, hey, you want to work on another project together? Mm-hmm. I'll go on their website. I'll kind of find the food and bev industry thing, sort by popular, and then just look at stock numbers. And so if they've got 300 in stock, then I can be pretty comfortable that they're going to let me play in that sandbox. And so, I've had some misses where I've said, hey, this electric grain mill looks really cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, we only have 3 of those in stock, that kind of thing. So, we did the air still. The air still is a thing people have been wanting me to try for a while, and so it ended up being a really fun project. Are you?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about this.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
much at all, or where it came from, but we have a bottle of peppermint schnapps down here of dubious background, and so I'll give you.
I mean, if I'll tell you the background, BC. He went to the store over here and he bought a bottle of schnapps, and then he poured it into this bottle.
Because the video says, "This video contains depictions, simulated depictions of."
This is an AI generated
the distilling process. So this is peppermint schnapps.
Tis the season.
We won't talk about where it came from, but I figured I'd bring it over and
peppermint schnapps, my man. That is.
Let you try it out. Woo! Yeah, man.
You did it. You did the nose.
I didn't do anything.
The nose is on point. Okay.
Hello, Adept Nonsense, saying hi to us in the chat.
A consistent 39. So, shout out to the people who listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all those other ones. You are a small but mighty force, and we appreciate you.
So yeah. The Viever air still works really great. If you look at comparable air stills online, they're all about double the price of what Viever sells theirs for. So I recommend theirs, and the one particularly that we featured on the channel worked pretty well.
Do some dance moves, man. This thing is.
If you look at the description for the video I put out today, there's also a link in there to other stills that they sell. And that tracks for my account so that they can see that y'all are clicking through. Let's just go click the links.
Go simulate,
Go click the links. What do you think?
It is peppermint schnapps. It is very strong.
Well, I mean, it's 50% ABV, so it'll.
I can't sit still after I drink it because my body's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It is exactly what you said it is, and it's good.
It's smooth.
It is smooth. It's at 50%.
It's smooth. And I think that's the thing that spooks people about spirit distillation at home, where it's legal in your locality or country, is, will I be able to make something that's smooth and drinkable?
Yeah.
And can it possibly be this easy?
And it can.
I mean, I can't speak. I can't speak to it from my personal experience, but seems like you can do it at home just fine. What's going on your channel lately?
Oh man, I dropped a video that's taken probably about a year, I would say, from idea to starting to people to all these things. A new mead competition is hitting the market, and that is the Ultimate Mead Maker. This is unlike any other mead competition out there. Most comps, you just send a bottle in, specify your category, and then hopefully, you win a medal within that, depending on how it goes. This one is different. This is a competition where you have to go through multiple challenges that really test your mead making skills. And the winner, I started with 16 people, and the winner, person who was last one, got $250 in prize money and a one-of-a-kind trophy I used to have up here, but it's gone out to him already. So I put these 16 people through 4 different challenges. They're going to change from year to year, so I'll tell you what the challenges were this year, but they're going to change for 2024. First one was a quiz, and it was basically just seeing how much you know, how quickly you can regurgitate information about mead making. It was a little bit challenging, should be. Second one was a honey stick tasting, where you had to figure out what kind of honey was in the honey stick and then pair it with that.
I think that's super cool.
It was a lot of fun, really challenging, and I think everyone who did it was like, this was really fun, and even the people who got eliminated were like, this was fun and really hard, but I appreciated it. The third challenge was the 8 people had to pair up. The 8 people left had to pair up, and they made 50% of a mead. And then at the tasting point, BC and I
was part of that.
We literally split the mead 50-50 and between the partners, and then tasted them. And essentially the 2 groups, 4 people who produced the best mead of that moved on. And then the final challenge was I sent out the same box of ingredients, and you had to make the same mead plus one additional thing of your choosing. And so they did that. There are 2 YouTube videos out detailing everything I just said. and talking about the whole process down to the winner. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but you can go check it out. You can be a part of this next year's competition. There's a registration page on my YouTube channel on those actual links. And this year is going to be run different. Last year was just picking 16 Discord members. This year is going to be a submission based to get into the competition. So what's happening is essentially you're going to send in a bottle of mead that you think is going to do well. It doesn't matter what category, just any bottle of mead. And then we're going to score it on our own score sheet. And the top 16 scoring meads will be my 16 people who start the 2024 challenge. You do need to be willing to be on screen, like on video, and talk some, because it's YouTube and it's kind of lame if you don't. We would I gotta make something fun out of it. And so there's that. And then if you are the person that makes it to the end, it might be 9 months of doing different things. So it does take some grueling effort. But again, $250, a one-of-a-kind trophy, and honestly, a really fun experience. I think all the people who did it had fun. I hope they did, at least. In the chat, they're going ape. Like they are talking about how the videos are cool. They had so much fun participating. Some of them won medals with the meads that they made for it. Yeah. Kyle says he's converting his pink lemonade mead to a 5-gallon batch for a festival. So it's a ton of fun, and I hope that you will be interested in it. There is a fee, $20 fee to enter your mead, and that's partially to weed out the people who are just going to send me a bunch of random stuff, but also all of that money goes to support the actual video. I can tell you with absolute certainty that I am in the hole from 2023's version. I can't imagine. And so it just shipping you did a ton, lots of shipping, and then the prize money and stuff like that. And so, and I don't mind doing that by any means, but also it helps to keep the channel going. So yep. Your money will be used well, especially if you continue going. So go check it out. That's my big one. And it took me a year. I hope that video will get some more views, those videos, because those people are awesome. Are you putting those out weekly? Those are already gone. So it's all done. Yeah, round 1 and 2 were out last week, and round 3 and 4 were out yesterday. Okay, so that's wrapped up. What's coming out for you next week? Oh, I don't want to say I have a bye week, but I have I had someone send me some knotweed honey, and so I did like a really quick video making a knotweed traditional mead. Okay. Oh, my other thing. Did that person send me honey too? Probably. Homan? Yeah, that's still sitting in the jug. Sorry, buddy. I haven't gotten to it yet. And I looked at it the other day because I was like, I need honey for a session mead, and then I thought, that wouldn't be fair. Like, I really need to do a traditional. Well, I got one for you, so you can. My other thing is I have been trying to accumulate all of my mead recipes to make it easier for people to find my stuff down into a Google Doc. And I know that not everybody uses Google, but I have done that. Every recipe is just, you click on this Google Doc and, oh, here's that blueberry cinnamon, click the link. That's great. And so, because I saw a comment of somebody was like, I really like Man Mead stuff, but I can never find his recipes. Like, especially because I use a lot of honeys. You know, I'll use like monkey pod blossom honey. Yeah. But then I also did a mango mead recipe with the monkey pod. And so it's like, I can't ever find like this stuff. So I tried to catalog. That's smart. Things. I'm slowly working on. It took an evening just to get what I have so far. A mead making ebook that I'm hoping to have out by the end of the year. That's kind of a beginner guide to mead making. Covers, grabbing a bottle. Keep going. Tips, tricks. It's got honey tasting notes for various varietals. Big section on nutrition, and then my favorite recipes converted down to 1-gallon recipes are all going to be in the back, and it is a chore to put all that together. This thing should be the next resource for people. I hope that it is plastered all over the place, because it is a lot of work. And obviously I don't want to say proofread through it. I've read through it, and you've done a great job. I appreciate that. It has been a chore, and it's, I'm not going to put a big price tag on it or anything, enough to compensate me for my work and maybe send a few gift cards to the people who've been copy editing it, volunteer for me. I'm really pleased with how it's turning out, and it's been a fun project, and I've been writing on it for forever.
And so it'll be good to be done with that. You know, what a thing we haven't talked about, I wish I would have included this in the upcoming segment here, is my mold flowchart has really been working its way around the internet the last couple of weeks.
You have a lot of these big posts that end up like...
But what's funny is I posted that, like, we made it a bot command on my Discord server. Uh-huh. And then it's just started spreading all around the meternet. Yeah. Everywhere else. It's kind of funny.
That's a cool thing that people are like, see your stuff. Like, I remember the glass video.
Yeah, that blew up.
It's
I still see people link to it.
Yeah.
So, it's fun to see that kind of stuff make its way around. The mold graphic is funny, though. Maybe I should turn that into a t-shirt.
All right. I have poured you a little knotweed honey. We can go ahead. Do you want to go on to this month in brewing?
Yeah.
This is knotweed mead. Not weed.
Not weed mead.
Not weed mead.
It's not weed mead. It's not weed mead.
Yeah.
Got it.
Go. Okay.
Wouldn't be safe to drive if I was having weed mead.
Oh, this is not mad honey mead.
That's got a smell to it. Mm-hmm. That's very
I think a cousin of buckwheat. It is in the family friends of buckwheat honey, if I remember correctly.
Conrad said it was posted on Facebook this week. I think I saw the posts in Conrad's Facebook group. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that mold graphic. It's funny how you create something because you see like a little bit of a need.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, oh, yes, we had that need. Thank you.
Yeah.
And take off with it. I'm glad I watermarked it, I guess.
Yeah, seriously, though. Because it would have, people are going to... What do you think of a knotweed traditional
It's a bit
mead?
thin.
Yeah.
I want a little tannin.
10%.
I think I oaked it some,
but not a ton.
It's not bad. It's a little thin. It doesn't drink like it's ready just yet.
So you think a little more of that?
A little more time? I don't know. It's just like...
So, tannin-wise, maybe I should have put some oak. Maybe not necessarily more oak, but more wine tannin. I taste the oak in
it. I taste the woodiness.
It's got some oak, but maybe some wine tannin.
Yeah, I want something to kind of... The finish is brief.
Yeah.
You drink it and it's gone like that.
It's an interesting honey, that's for sure.
No, the honey flavor is interesting. I think it's getting masked a little bit in the oak.
Yeah.
Because I'm tasting some woodiness. I don't hate it.
May 2023.
So what I might do... You made yours at 10%, so did you do a 5-gallon batch?
This was a 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he sent us each 10 pounds?
Mm-mm. Not me. He gave me 3.
Oh, I've got a giant... So what I might do is make like a 15% 3-gallon batch or something.
Yeah.
So we can really get it.
I'd be curious to see that, yeah.
And you know what? I've got empty 3-gallon carboys right now. So
Holman? Here we go.
I'll start it tomorrow, buddy. Just, a year after you sent me your honey. It's fine. Hello, Northern Girl Hobbies says catching the first live here apparently. Have yet to start my beer kit. Ooh-wee. What was it? Wine I can do in 2 weeks.
Happy Friday.
Well, welcome.
Welcome
to the stream. This is the Homebrew Guys podcast. Oh, you know what I should do before we jump into social?
We got people to thank.
Thank you to my members and patrons. Y'all make the channel happen.
I need an applause meter.
For real, we do.
Yeah.
You make my channel happen. I can't stress that enough. The stuff that I buy, this guy texting me, hey, you want to split 60 pounds of honey? And me being able to say, yeah, sure, is because of y'all. So thank you very much. This is my list of members and patrons who support the channel. You can become a YouTube member by clicking the join button below this video or find the link to our Patreon. You probably have to Google it because I don't even know where that link is. Maybe it's in the video description. I don't know. But big shout out to the folks who support us on YouTube and Patreon. And
same for myself. Same thing. I mean, part of it is YouTube is not, we've talked about it before, not necessarily always lucrative. And And so you guys are keeping us running, allowing me to do giant videos and have a lot of fun. So you guys are the reason I'm Mead.
Thank you all for your incredible support. All right, so should we talk about the things from the internet?
Listen, I know that you think you're a hot shot, but we got some other hot shots in the Discord, in our like little, I'm gonna call them our Discord family group, because we got some,
family.
I mean, let's be real. We spend a lot of time with these people. We do. We spend a lot of time with these people.
This is like Olive Garden.
Yeah.
When you're here.
Your family.
Your family.
Is there 39 still? Because we got 39 family members.
I've got a reminder to defrost the rabbit that just popped up.
Don't forget. 38. We lost a family member.
I've got something like 15 pounds of rabbit meat that has to go through the meat grinder tomorrow. So
you've made so many people upset.
I've got a day of I'm getting winter storage ready. I gotta grind up all the meat, put it in the deep freeze.
I hear you.
It's a process. Have you ever had rabbit? I'm gonna make you some rabbit burgers the next time you're over.
Larry,
calling Larry.
Our good friend Larry, who's also a participant in, probably numerous videos for us. He was in the Ultimate Mead Maker, super talented mead maker, has created some mead tools.
Northern Girl is asking for the Discord link. It's discord.dointhemost.org.
There you go. So these mead tools are, I gotta zoom in because this text is small. Is it gonna work?
Have you seen this tool?
I was gonna try to read some. Why don't you describe more, because I'm struggling here.
Excuse me. So, like you said, Larry's a very big part of our community. Answers a lot of questions. He brings a lot of intense energy to conversations about homebrewing, which I appreciate. That's not a dig, Larry. But he took that intensity and leveraged it to build mead tools. And this is part of Larry's learning software development. And so he's applying these new skills to this platform and has developed a series of tools that help you build your batch. And so there are things that help you calculate nutrients, build recipes, things like that. And they're all stored within this Google Sheet. Mm-hmm. So it's a bot command on my Discord server. Larry's, I think, working on building a website around it. Mm-hmm. But he's worked with me and other folks on our Discord server. He's worked with folks like Storm, who are expert mead makers, to really dial in these tools to make them as best as he can and the most up-to-date and current as possible. And so they've actually gone through a few version changes since he built them. And they're reliable, they're handy, they're easy to use, and more than anything, they're current. Whereas some of the tools that you find online might be a little bit outdated, or might be using old formulas or the wrong formulas for certain things, or not include information about certain nutrient types, things like that. So Larry's got everything here all in one place, and I really appreciate the amount of effort and due diligence that he's done in putting this together.
Seriously though, this is a great tool. I hope that people will utilize these things. There's not a lot like this around, and like you just said, some of it's outdated. And so like we always recommend people to go like this. Here's a nutrient calculator that's kind of close, but like not great, and so like this is great to have a resource that's like, this is it. This will help you find your nutrients. This will help you build that batch that you're trying to go for.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. And we talked about this with things like meadcomps.com, where you have an itch, and so you need to scratch it. And it turns out that you're not the only one with the itch. You're scratching everyone's itch by scratching your own itch. Right. And that is what Larry did with this project. And it's the type of thing that we can use and we can link to, and it can become a part of like the internet, like hive mind of brilliance that we've all put together. Is Boone okay?
I don't know what he's doing, but he's found something. You keep going.
Yeah. No, I'm raining praise down on Larry. Thank you for building it. I'm excited to see people use it. Again, we have a bot command for it. I think it's like !mead tools on the Discord server that'll bring it up, so you can call it up whenever you need it. Very cool. I'm excited to see what website he builds around it.
Yeah. No, seriously, that's
big shout.
Like, as much as we want support, there are as many creative people in our Discord and around who are doing just as cool things, as we want to highlight them.
And Larry, you should drop your Venmo and Cash App in the chat. Maybe people will send you a tip, buy you a cup of coffee.
All right, so
moving on.
Daniel S. says, I'm going to figure out what Boone's doing. What does Daniel S. say here?
I'll just cover all the social media news of the week.
Figure out what he's searching for here.
I think Boone found a cricket. So the Maltose Falcons, which is Daniel S.'s local homebrewing group, is going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary. Apparently, they're the oldest homebrewing club in the country. And so they, I think next month, are celebrating their 50th anniversary. So congratulations to the Maltose Falcons.
That's a long time to be a
50 years.
Club.
50 years.
It's a lot of beer. Or
it's a
whatever
lot of
they
beer. And apparently, I was flipping through their website today. Apparently, they're incredibly active, too. Like, I wish we had a homebrew club scene like that here.
Yeah.
It is incredibly active. So, just super cool. He wanted us to give them a shout out.
That's pretty cool. Well, if you're around there, go check them out. BC, did I send you this one or did you send it to me? I thought it was maybe interesting. The enjoying.
You sent me this. You wanted this to be a conversation topic.
So we have done many a test with Mead. That dog is creating so much noise.
He's fine.
I'm imagining all these podcast listeners.
Oh, so Boone is a very large. What is he, like a labradoodle? Yeah, and he is a playful, gentle soul, and he's down. He's chewing on a rubber toy at our feet, right below the microphones. So sorry if y'all could hear that. So the question here, Mr. Man-Made Mead, is it a slight to the mead maker to drink their mead from a plastic cup? What is the appropriate glassware from which to consume someone's homemade mead? For you believe, according to this, that it's glass.
And it's mostly because here's the thing. If I was doing, when we do lots of tastings, when I did my 20 yeast tasting, there was no way I was going to go grab glass. We did it out of plastic cups. I've done many a test out of a plastic cup. And like, I have no problem doing the plastic cup thing. Now, when I'm serving things to people, generally speaking, I am serving in glass, especially around here. Only because I like these little taster glasses. These are a good size, Mm-hmm. So I don't have any problem doing the plastic thing, but I understand that some people might be against that. I do wonder when it gets to certain... This is like a test I want to do at some point. I would love somehow to do a blind test where you have to basically... Oh my gosh. Where
He's fine. It's a dog. Dogs bark.
I don't know what he's barking at. Taste something, but you can't use like your hands. I don't know. Like you can't pick up the glass and go like, oh, this is plastic. Like to taste something without knowing the container it's in. I guess you could give like oven mitts or something like that. But like,
oh, so
people would have
a blind triangle where they don't know what the consumption vessel is.
Yes. It'd be really hard to do.
I want you to do it, and I'm happy to like bring David over and we just like wear oven mitts and drink mead for a while.
Like, I just think it'd be interesting to be like, do you notice any difference between these, and just pour that? But you'd have to be blind. You'd have to have oven mitts on. Like you'd have to. It would be such a silly video. But it'd be interesting to see if there's any true difference between something that is in a plastic container versus glass.
So Ben Rodrigo says, I watched the Tasty Mead video. I was curious that if I wanted to change the recipe to 2 gallons, would I need to double everything, including the yeast? No. The yeast, just use 1 packet of yeast, but everything else, double. Yeast, those packets of yeast are good for up to 5 to 6 gallons of wine or mead. And so it's perfectly okay to use one in a 1 gallon batch, one in a 3 gallon batch, one in a 5 gallon batch. You don't need to double that, but everything else would be just scaled up as usual.
It does get weird when you go past 5 because you're like, then you have to open up another packet. Like I don't know if I would stretch 5 grams of yeast to a 7 gallon batch, like kind of
I'd
situation.
probably just spin up a starter.
Yeah.
Get a starter going for 6 or 7 hours.
So I brewed a stout recently, 1100 starting gravity, and it said to pitch 2 10-gram packs of Sap Ale USO5. And I was like, that's 20 grams of yeast. I don't know if I need that. So I only pitched 10 grams, and it's done just fine, but it's interesting.
Everyone in the chat seems to be saying that glass is the best. And also Fun Pants says they can't hear the dog, so they don't care. So there you go.
I agree. I mean, I serve my stuff in glass. If I had the ability to snap my fingers and at that test that I did for 20 yeast, have 400 glasses.
Man, I don't think that the plastic makes a difference for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't notice. At Mead Stampede, I do not notice that the glasses are made of plastic.
And I say this mostly because as a person who lives on YouTube, I know there are people who are going to say, well, you should have poured these into this. This is how it affected it. And it would have been a way to get rid of the factor of people being like, here's what I think. Mm-hmm. So
I'm with Renee, though. She says that she uses a mason jar for session meads. Big fan of that.
And I've never done that. I use a mason jar for water.
I have so many mason jars.
I fill a mason jar of water every morning.
So my grandpa, my mom's dad, was this like old, like redneck welder. Like he fixed construction equipment for a living. So like real redneck, old country guy. And he would keep this mason jar of water in the fridge. And I swear there were always particles. Oh. Like food particles. Oh. And if I was thirsty, he'd say, "Well, go get my jar of water." So I'd have to drink this there's like pieces of like lunch meat floating in it. Really turned me off of mason jars for water. And I know that my mason jars are not going to have
you got PTSD.
Like cheese whiz floating in them, but I can't. But for a session mead, perfectly fine.
Gross. You might have made it harder for me to drink out of a mason jar now.
All right, where are we at? Are we on our 4th story?
Is carbonation an ingredient, BC?
Dude, this post is so good. Look how long this is. Scroll this post.
Quite the hefty boy.
Keep scrolling, man. It just goes and goes and goes. But this is such an important discussion. Actually, I put this on, I think it was the Homebrewing channel on my Discord server, hoping that people would read it. I don't know if anybody did. Mm-hmm. But it is such good information.
Yeah.
And, so often I get questions about carbonation and balancing and bottle conditioning versus kegging and things like that. And people do really need to understand that carbonation is an ingredient. Carbonation level is an ingredient. For my butterbeer recipe, you got to really push the carbonation for bottling, kind of dangerous levels in order to get it to taste how it needs to taste.
Yeah.
Because if it's any less carbonated, it tastes flat.
Right.
Because of how much stuff is in there. In this post, and this will be linked in our video description in the next couple of days, we'll put all the links in there. This post goes into a super deep dive on how carbonation affects flavor on the palate. And it's we joke about the Triforce of balance, but with a session mead or a sparkling wine or a beer or cider, that is like the 4th leg of a stool of carbonation, providing something that you don't otherwise have, and that you have to keep in mind when you're balancing that, that I have to make this slightly sweeter, or slightly less acidic than I think I would, because the carbonation is going to add some perceptible acidity because of carbonic acid and because of the way the bubbles act on your tongue. It tastes tart, more tart, and it cuts sweetness.
Right.
And so especially if you're a beginner and you're just getting into bottle conditioning or kegging and you're learning how that process works, read all of this.
Yeah.
No, it's super good information.
There's I've experienced this with some of my stuff I've sent off to competitions. I've been bottling off a keg and losing a little carbonation, and if I just pour off the keg, it tastes different than I'm sure those judges are tasting after I've bottled this carbonated mead and then sent it off, because I've lost a little bit of carbonation, and then my intent of I wanted to highlight this. They've lost that because it's a little more flat than it previously was.
Holy shit. Apparently the guy who wrote this post is in our chat tonight.
Who is it?
Brian Stevens.
Oh, Brian.
He says, that's my post.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Well,
nice job.
Incredible work. This is an incredible write-up. Maybe I should make this a bot react on my Discord channel, because it's just a thing that people, I think, don't grasp when they're first starting out. People who've done this for a while get how you have to balance against that. But for a beginner, you might have a few batches, your first few batches of carbonated stuff that doesn't turn out right because you're not thinking about balancing against that extra variable.
Yeah. And part of it is, I think you have to experience it too. I think that the truth of all of this is, as you are making mead, you're going to have to make a couple mistakes to figure out what it means to actually have something that's carbonated and taste the way you wanted. I don't think anybody's ever really going to get it on the first try. And honestly, I don't think you need to get it on your first try. I know that sounds bad, but I've learned way more from the times that I've got it wrong than the times I've got it right. And that's not to say, go make the mistakes. Go and purposefully sabotage a batch. But don't be afraid to experiment and then go, oh, well, man, I might have wasted $30 here, but I have an experience. BC.
All right, I got it.
I have an experience that is going to teach me way more about what I'm trying to do than if I had got it right the first time. Again, It's not bad to get it right the first time. That's awesome. But that opposite experience of tasting the wrong thing is very helpful.
I mean, oxidized mead.
Yeah, you'll never know what it tastes like till you have one.
And it's an important experience to have it at least once or twice to know what you're looking to avoid. Yeah, I'm with you, Fat Brusket. Exclamation point carbonation would be a great bot react for that. I'm sure Dogstick Fetch can go make that happen. It's an incredible post. Almost want to say this necessary reading for somebody who's going to be starting carbonating stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's such a crucial, it makes me want to do a video on it, honestly. It's such a crucial thing to remember that you're balancing.
It is interesting. It's you almost need a I have a video that's how to bottle carbonate, specifically bottle carbonate, and I have, of course, how to keg carbonate. But I feel that's level 1. How do you just get that thing to be carbonated? And then you need a level 2 of okay, now you've carbonated your mead. Here's what you need to actually plan on when post-carbonation, what is going to happen. Because they are 2 different steps. And it's hard to conceptualize all of the details that go into bottle carbing. Even bottle carbing can be scary. I remember the first time I did, I was I hope I'm doing this right. Because if I'm not, then I'm going to have some sort of explosion on my hand. And, it happens. It's just, you learn from the process.
Yeah. Weirdly, I'm starting to get back into bottle conditioning.
Well,
I don't want to put this out into the universe because people love to take things that we say and either trash us or make them into gospel, one of the two. But I feel like a bottle conditioned brew tastes better than a kegged brew. I think the flavor is better.
I would disagree, but I only because
when's the last time you bottle conditioned something, buddy?
I love the control that I have with keg carbonating. That Mead Mosa that I shared with him earlier, bottle carbed, it tastes way different than it does kegged, and because I have the control of adding some more honey to get the more that character, and then that orange juice.
If I recall, though,
the recipe, the video
I believe
is
that I liked your bottle conditioned version better than your kegged version when we tasted them.
He tasted it tonight. He said it's more champagne-y, and I think the truth is I added more sweetness, and I think the champagne-y element comes from drier side.
Yeah.
And so maybe that, that's a tasting note for myself. But I personally like the kegging side. I understand, though, you're making a lot more, I would say, beginner-friendly content than I am at this moment. I kind of have switched my gears more towards the intermediate style of things.
Yeah, we can talk about it. We got time. Mm-hmm. But these people are watching regardless, right? Mm-hmm. Beginner content in our niche kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And so there are a vast school of philosophies on how you can start out in this hobby. And there are a lot of YouTubers, brew-tubers, who have been doing this for a while, who have techniques that work for them.
Yeah.
But there is, and you've mentioned this recently, there is a new, freshman class of brew-tubers that's coming up, and they are not necessarily teaching what I would even call remotely best practices. Right. Or there are folks whose brewing practices, for the most part, I disagree with philosophically, but I believe that they are coming up with something that they drink and they like and that other people are replicating and those people like, and that, for me, is fine. But when you see this content that's dangerous, or that the recipe is shit, or a vast number of other bad practices, maybe not dangerous, but also not good practice, it makes me want to dive a little bit into beginner stuff.
Yeah.
To show people that there is a way that you can do this with little to no investment, little to no gear or knowledge, and still come up with something that's going to taste good in 3 to 6 months. Yeah. And so, not necessarily that I'm fighting against the freshman class of new brew-tubers, but I want to make sure that I have content in that realm that's out there that aligns with my brewing philosophy that's going to get people started on the right foot.
I definitely think the brewing, the consumption of brewing content, the truth is 80% newbies and then 20% intermediate. And, I you're, again, dipping your toes more into the beginner brewery content. And I mean, I've got some stuff I'm working on too. But I would say generally my stuff is hitting a different demographic. Most people want to learn how to just do it. And then I think if we were to take a real poll, somehow get everybody who's ever brewed a mead or watched a video to take a poll on whether or not they've consumed content post maybe a beginner level thing, most people would say, no, I generally just go off on my own little road map. I kind of just take my own path within this, and that's not a bad thing, but the beginners is where it's at. If you really want to get going, I think we see that with some of these, again, freshman creators, so to speak. If you really want to popularize mead more, you got to hit the beginners, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
What I really want is those beginning freshman people to do it well. I want them to do it well so people come back and don't have a bad experience on their first mead. I absolutely hate when you make some garbage recipe and then you're like, well, mead wasn't for me. I made this thing and I didn't do this, and it just hurts because you're like, well, let me help you. Change this one thing, you would have been fine.
And that's the thing that frustrates me about Instagram Reel and TikTok content is it's so bite-sized.
Yeah.
That it is obvious to me from the few videos I've watched that they're faking the content. And so their reaction is inauthentic to the experience you're going to get if you actually follow their... If somebody is making a mead start to finish and they don't change their freaking clothes in 3 minutes of a video, you know something's wrong, right? And so, I hate that people are seeing that and they go, oh, I can make mead in 3 minutes.
Or 7 days.
And then they make some bruisey trash and they, like you said, they go, I guess mead's not for me.
Yeah.
I guess I don't like mead. And that sucks for them because mead is something that everyone can enjoy if they have a mead that falls within the band of their flavor preference.
Yeah. I definitely think that, mead is different than beer, too, because when it comes to beer, I don't know how many people go and branch out their own recipes at all, but I feel like the beer style is you find a recipe creator or just online, and you follow that to a T.
Yeah, and Mean Brews is a good example of that, where he'll take 20 recipes, find everything that works about them, narrow that down, create the recipe,
right,
and publish it. And why wouldn't you follow that?
Right. Mead doesn't necessarily have that, because it's like my apple cinnamon. There are probably 42 different apple cinnamon variations out there, and it's not that they're even bad or wrong.
And batch to batch, it can be a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the challenge that comes with it. And so I don't know, I understand people going off on their own path, but again, if you're a new brewer, you're listening or watching, continue to brew, even if that first batch wasn't necessarily your favorite. I hope that you'll come back and do more. And we have a lot of recipes between BC doing the most and myself. Like, we have plenty of recipes that are here to serve you. And we specifically, without any cost, supply our recipes to you. You know, we're not here to make money off the recipes by any means.
The thing about, I've said this for 30 years now, I feel like, but information wants to be free. Putting something behind a paywall does nothing. Right? And like, I'm going to put out this ebook. I'm going to charge whatever I charge for it. I'm not going to put DRM on it. So I know that people are going to be passing it around behind my back and not paying for it. And I'm okay with that, because that means that people are getting the information that they need.
Yeah. Sometimes, well,
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Kyle says, I started out with crap, and then I saw you and Man-Made Mead and became a medal-winning mead maker.
It's true.
Ben Rodrigo, shout out. Ben Rodrigo gives $5 in the super chat. If you want a super chat, you can just click that super chat button and send some money over. We appreciate that. It helps us support the work of Homebrew Guys podcast. Ben Rodrigo says, first time brewer, wanted to start practicing hydromel and Skeeter Pea for my wedding in July. Congratulations.
Hey, that's cool.
Congratulations. That's big. Tips on yeast slurry if I don't have a previous batch. I love this question because on my Instagram, at the top, under saved stories, I have a how to do Skeeter Pea without a yeast slurry Instagram series. Basically, what you're going to want to do is make a wine.
Yeah.
And so you'll put in a pound or two of sugar, some water, some fruit of some kind, so you get a little bit of that yeast assimilable nitrogen, and pitch in your yeast. Let that wine go for about a week. Really get foamy, really get going, and then basically pour all of that through a sieve to strain out the particulate into your fermenter, and then mix your Skeeter Pea batch on top of that. Basically what you're doing is getting the yeast going with sugar and with nitrogen and a little bit of fruit flavor. You're going to pick up some color from that. It'll get the yeast colony built up without needing a stir plate or anything like that. And then you can just go from there. Easy peasy.
I love those kind of questions. I love those are fun. Getting like
process questions.
Yeah. People wanting to know more. For sure.
Let's see. Larry says, shit beginner recipes prevent the all-important second brew. Very, very real. There's a blog called like Cook, Grow, Forage, Ferment or something like that. I got into a fight with the person who runs that blog one time because I said, your recipe sucks. You are creating the bad first batch for so many people because your SEO is so good.
Right.
That's the recipe people find.
How do I get that SEO? That's what I want to know.
Have an article up for 10 years. And so I sent him an Instagram message and was like, this sucks. Take it down. You're screwing people over. And they're like, no, lots of people have made this and they love it. I'm like, that's because they don't know better.
Okay, Brucey.
Yeah, okay, Brucey. So anyway, I think they blocked me on Instagram.
Wine and it tastes real good.
But like, yeah, I mean, for real, if your first brew sucks, my first mead I ever made, this was like 2014 or 2015, was awful. And I didn't make mead again until like 2017 because I thought, I can't do this. It sucks. And when I dug all my homebrewing gear back out of storage, my thought was, I want to do mead well.
Right.
And so I spent a year trying to do mead well before I finally was like, oh, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. I understand the reasons why my mead sucked. And I hadn't followed a recipe or anything. It was mostly nutrition problems, I think.
Yeah. It's when it comes to mead, we have a different problem of that, like we just talked about. Beer brewing's established recipes. Wine generally is established. Use these yeasts. Hard seltzer is its own little debacle. You know, and I mean, mead is such a sandbox, and there are so many ways to do it. So I hope that people are consuming lots of content. I think at the end of the day, the best way to see good and bad is to like consume all the content you can, and then sort of, as you try things, narrow down to what is your style. I thought about the other day, and I know we're probably nearing time. I thought about the other day my video I made about the 3 big community problems we have in the mead making thing. I made that like 2 years ago. And I was like,
it's hard to believe it's been that long.
It's still, here's the problem. The problems we see, the things that I talked about are still relevant to this day. Like nothing has changed necessarily. We still have the same issues. And I don't know. That's kind of a bummer to me.
Kyle says that blueberry mead video is still so charming. I think he's talking about my first ever YouTube video. It's something. I regularly think about taking it down.
I have a bunch that I've taken down because I'm like, I missed some key topics in them, and so I took a lot of those things down. And it hurt. I mean, that's part of it. Is there's a lot of big content creators who have, honestly, and this is not anything towards you, this is the ones that I've seen of other aspects that have some large scale videos that are amassing lots of views with bad practices that are kept up because they make a lot of money. And I unlisted.
I wish my videos
like
made
you can
a
go
lot
to
of money.
like if you want to look at my where I took a hit, go to, it's called socialblade.com and check out my channel. You can see a giant spike where one day I just decided, hey, I need to get rid of these videos because they're hurting more than they're helping. And there's like, the graph is like this, and all of a sudden there's like it looks like it looks like I got demonetized and taken off of YouTube for that day. And that it was necessary. And so I wish more people would look at their content and go, I made this 4 years ago. I didn't do the best thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to redo it.
I've taken a few down.
It's not a bad thing necessarily to like leave some things up, but I feel like disclaimers need to be put up sometimes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna say hi to my baby. Apparently she's watching on TV.
Hi, baby.
Hello, little one. So the other day, man, I wish I could remember the context. I think I was trying to get her down for like nighttime sleep, but she said something like, I'm going on a play date. And I said, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Play date? You've never been on a play date. So who are you going to go on a play date with? And she said, a play date with Uncle Garrett. I was like, what are y'all going to do together? Like go to the park and frolic together? So absurd.
That's so funny.
I don't know why she's always thinking about you, but
you know what?
You made an impression, man. So, hi, baby.
Hi, baby. That's funny.
Let's see. Okay, back on my first video. Kyle says, I think it's charming to me because it mirrors a lot of the lessons I've learned along the way. I get reminded of my journey by watching older videos. That's sweet. Thank you very much.
Mine are more like, people are like, man, I literally had a comment the other day that's like, someone's like, man, you've really grown a lot since you're starting videos. Because there's so much of me just being like, hey, I'm going to make some mead.
Well, but the thing about it is the internet was different 5 years ago.
That's true, I guess.
Right? Like things were a lot more homespun. You are expected to have such high production quality these days to get ahead on YouTube.
That's true.
That was not an expectation back then. I could just set up a camera in my pajamas and record.
That's basically what I did.
And it's different.
A small town in Texas. You know, I was just having the time of my life. That's it.
Totally different world. So the closing segment, I had this idea and it didn't transpire, but I'll ask the chat. What jokes are you sick and tired of seeing in the brewing world on social media?
I'll start. I'll give you prompts. I've tried my best to get off of Facebook Mead making page because, oh my gosh, I get so flustered with some of the things that are said there.
Yeah.
But the one that always pops up is people being like, has anybody made mead with mad honey yet?
Yeah.
That's the psychedelic honey or whatever it is. That's
they always attach an image that looks like it's been copied and pasted 1,000 times.
Right.
It's got like 6 pixels.
Yeah, and you're like, I mean, the question gets asked probably 5 times a day.
Yeah, Larry got mine. I'll repeat it in a second, but
yeah, that's mine. I like see it all the time, and that's like a joke people make. I feel like, but also maybe serious. But then it becomes a joke, and you're like,
that or the meat honey, like the wasps that make honey out of meat. Yeah,
you remember the carnivore guy that followed me for a while?
Yeah,
there's a guy. And if he still watches me to this day, I mean,
he eats meat.
He literally
tried to pitch me on it one time.
Yeah, he only ate meat, and then he would post on my videos about how I should be eating only raw meat specifically. And he commented for a long time. I don't remember his name. He had carnivore in his name. That's all I remember.
He was a carnivore.
And I was like,
he sent me an Instagram message about all the health benefits of, like, I gave him some brewing advice, and I said, carnivore, tell me a little about that. He told me about it. He said, if you ever want to do a phone call.
Get all your iron in one day.
He said
iron you need for like 10 years in 1 hour.
I want to do a phone call. We can talk about it. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I like vegetables, personally. So,
what was Larry's?
So Larry said, give it to me for disposal. That was I actually have it in our... somebody will say, "Is this infected?" And it's got a Brett Pellicle.
I'm sorry,
you
got me on a tangent out. So the Facebook side,
yeah,
there was somebody who posted probably the blurriest photo of a blueberry mead in a carboy I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like that post got almost 1,000 likes, 500 comments, people being like, "Give me the recipe. That looks so good." Like it literally, this looks like this guy like just shook his hands and took a photo. And it was so blurry. It's so blurry but so unclear too. And I was just like, this is insane to me.
Looks tasty.
And people were like, give me the recipe. I'll take a bottle off you. You don't want that? I'll take it off your hands.
I'll dispose of it for you.
I got it for you. That's crazy. I'm gonna do one thing. You go. What's your next one?
No, my baby is showing me a camping cup. Apparently she believes that I can see her through the TV. So, wow, look at that camping cup, I say to her.
Oh
Y'all
my
just
gosh.
have to put up with dad stuff, all right? Deal with it.
Deal with it.
My child loves me, and that feels pretty good. Is this peppermint?
You don't have to partake.
Excellent. No,
but
I'm happy to.
You have it here, and so...
Dogstick Fetch says, I'm sick and tired of seeing jokes about the wife. Have you ever seen... There's an acronym. It's like she who must be obeyed. Swambo. She who must be obeyed. On Homebrew Talk they use that one a lot. She who must be obeyed. It's about the wife. It says a la, don't tell the missus I'm buying another bucket of honey. Yeah, that's some cringy, like weird, like married misogyny that nobody needs. Don't tell the old lady I'm getting 6 new kegs today. I'm gonna hide them in the garage. Oh man. Okay, so Tiger Pat wants to know what we're drinking.
Oh, we've had a lot of things. Specifically, I just opened up. He's got this peppermint schnapps that was, I think, AI generated, and I have a peppermint mead.
Yeah.
That this might be a 2018 or 19. I've got so many bottles of this stuff. I was just gonna open one, and so I added a little of my peppermint mead and then some of your schnapps in. And I was curious to see a little bit of a blend.
Oh, if that'll.
I tasted it pre schnapp and now post schnapp.
Let us know how your post schnapp refractory period is.
It's really not bad. I mean, that's a pretty good. It really kicks that peppermint that's there. Like I added a little bit. That's pretty good.
You know, so the reason I had all these candy canes was from a failed project from last winter, not brewing related. And so I had all of these candy canes left over, and we were cleaning out the pantry. I was like, what am I going to do with these? So I thought, maybe I'll give them to you for your next peppermint mead. And they were sitting on a stool in my studio, and then I saw them, and I had this video project kind of in the works, and I was like, I think I know what I can do with some of those.
I need to start another. Here's the thing: the candy.
Describe this to Adept Nonsense. He's asking how the peppermint mead came to be.
Oh man! Well, it started a long time ago. 2018, I took 52 individually large size candy canes, boiled them unwrapped them, boiled them in water with some honey, and threw in some EC1118. Kept true to my roots on that guy right there, and made this peppermint mead. It turned out pretty good. It was a lot of candy canes, and then I made a larger version featuring 216 full-size candy canes, unwrapped, with a bunch of honey, peppermint tea, some other things like that. Came up with a final recipe. It's pretty good, and I think that's actually what this is.
From the final
final recipe plus
perfect brew,
the schnapps. It takes about a year to pan out. That's the problem. The peppermint mead is not something you drink within the year.
I think I've had a bottle from almost every batch you've done of this. Because I remember you even brought over the very first ever batch bottle. I still have some
time. I wrote them. I put OG on them because I was like, I want to remember that this is the original. So
yeah,
I still got some OGs.
I'm very pleased with your recipe. For what it is. Because I remember when I first started brewing, I was on Winemaking Talk forum, and there was somebody that was making candy wines, and they made a peppermint wine, and there was a Skittle wine, and I remember it always kind of being like kind of sketch, but like the idea of it, I could jive with, right? But you actually weirdly have perfected.
It's a weird one, and this was like batch number 8 or 9 in my like whole big long list at this point.
Well, I'm glad it's good.
And the schnapps really does add some more to this.
Gives it a little zhuzh.
BC, how do we end this thing? What do we do?
Well, this is the 13th episode.
13th.
I know, right?
It's been over a year.
It's been over a year.
Boone. Oh my gosh, dog.
Boone's chewing on its way down here.
He's losing his mind over here.
We'll probably have a November episode. I don't know if we'll have a December episode. December is usually a pretty busy time of year.
Pretty crazy.
And so I'll remind everyone that on the Man-Made Mead Discord server, we have a Homebrew Guys channel. That's where I pulled a couple of the stories for this week from. They were dropped in there by viewers. So if you have ideas, you see things on the internet that are interesting to you, drop them in that channel on his Discord server. What's the link to that?
It used to be a very clear and concise link, and then that specific thing, I guess, got hacked. And so now my link is easier to find if you go to my most recent YouTube, because it's like a bunch of letters and stuff. I got to figure out how to get it back to...
It got hacked?
Like the company, it was an .io/whatever, and it got I don't know. And so they shut it down. And so you can't use that link anymore. And so I got to find a new way. So go to my YouTube.
You can make it discord.manmademead.com.
I need to probably do that.
It's been working for me for about 4 years.
There you go. In a month, it'll be that. So I'll work on that. But yeah, that's how you can find that right there.
I'm just reading chat. Ben Rodrigo says, I just saw the most horrifying video of a guy making mead the other day. You guys should watch it for a stream. It was literally the worst. I have a feeling I know what you're talking about, because we have been sent a particular musician mead maker's videos by some of his fans, and they are interesting content.
Yeah, man. Dude, if you're watching, stop.
Yes,
stop it.
Please stop making mead.
You're polluting the earth with
whatever that is. Yeah. It's really interesting. So yeah, drop stuff in the the Homebrew Guys channel on the Man Made Meats Discord server.
And I'm gonna plug my thing. Ultimate Mead Maker. The registration will end towards the end of December, and I will be judging these meads. If you want to be involved, you need to register, get your mead shipped in before December 20th or something like that, because it just will be too late for you if you decide to wait. So,
do it. Do it. And also get those cattle battles going. Milk. Cereal, milk, Lactamel, cattle battle.
We know you've wanted to make one for years, so go ahead and make it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Let's do it.
Well, that's all I have.
I think that's it.
It's been a good show.
It's been a good show.
Thank you all for joining us. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe on my channel. Go subscribe to his channel. If you're listening out there in podcast verse, you might check out the video version. There'll be links on the video version. You can see our beautiful faces.
And if you watch and listen, let me know.
Yeah, you get bonus points. He's got a chart with star stickers in the other room. He'll put a star on your chart
right there
for you.
Off screen. You can't see it.
You can't see it, but it's there. I've seen it. Y'all have a wonderful night. And cheers.